Today, we're going to be breaking down 3 routes that all wide receivers need to learn. The first route is going to be something called a fake jerk route. So a jerk route builds off of a whip route, and then, of course, a fake jerk route builds off of the jerk route. So let's play this thing full speed, and then we'll break it down. So this wide receiver comes out, looks a lot like he's going to run a whip, puts the brakes on, and hits this DB with almost like a crossover move. So obviously what a whip route is, you guys, is where we burst up like we're either selling like I'm running a drag, selling like I'm running a 3-step slant, but I burst up, run this slant, I put the brakes on and drop my hips and run a whip route. So that's ultimately what you want to make this route look like first. So this receiver comes up, he breaks to the slant route, and it's very important that we have speed. It's very important that we snap my eyes, your hips, and your shoulders. Got to make it look like a slant. Even if I'm not even running a slant, we have to make it look like a slant to get this DB to overcommit, right? So now, a whip route, what you would do is you would just put the brakes on, you would drive off this outside foot and go back to the sideline. Now, what's a jerk route? A jerk route would be you would drop into a whip route, you would make it look the same, and you would just put the brakes on with one step and then brake back to the inside. So on paper, how it would look is you would go here, brake slant, fake whip, then back to the slant. Pretty much an unguardable route if you run this correctly. Now, on variation of this, or I guess you could say a variation of a whip route, because if you call a whip route and add this move, that wouldn't be the end of the world. But you break down, you throw this jab like you're running a jerk route, put the brakes on back to the inside. So it's a 1-2. And that 1-2 gets that DB to commit. We drive off of that, and we continue back on my whip pattern. So those are 3 routes that you could all use to build off of each other. You got a whip route, you have a jerk route where you put the brakes on and go out, and then you have a fake jerk route where you go back on the pattern of the whip. So let's play this again full speed one more time. Great job by this receiver selling that whip route and then putting the brakes on to head back outside. Now, this next route we're going to be talking about here is something called a fake return route. So it's a fake return route, very, very similar to a jerk route. Now, guys, before we get into this fake return route, if you're a wide receiver or quarterback and would like to train with us this off season, we are going to be coming out to 7 more states across the country for 2-day long QB and wide receiver training camps. Currently, we are in Buffalo, New York for our camp this weekend, but then we'll be heading out to Atlanta, Georgia, Houston, Texas, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Detroit, Michigan, Boise, Idaho, and Los Angeles, California. So guys, we only have 6 locations left. Our Atlanta, Houston, Philly, and Boise camp are completely sold out, but if you'd like to be added to a wait list or would like to sign up for our Detroit, Michigan camp where we have about 3 spots remaining and our Los Angeles camp where we have about 2 spots remaining, guys, check out that very first link in the description below. We'd love to have you out there. If you'd like to get added to a wait list, feel free, guys. Same deal. Very first link in that description below. We really appreciate all the support, you guys. Let's get back to this video. So now, when it comes down to the return route, so the return route is kind of the opposite of a whip route. That's why they call it a return route, because you're returning back to the inside. So remember, a whip route, you were trying to sell a slant, you put the brakes on, and then you run a whip. So on a return route, you're trying to sell like you're running an out route, you put the brakes on, and then you come back to the inside. So let's play this full speed, then we'll break it down. So he comes off, 1, 2, 3, 4, puts the brakes on, and then heads back to the outside. Very, very tough route to guard, especially if you run it correctly. So on a return route, I think of it like it's 3 steps, right? You got 1, 2, 3 on the 3rd step. So let's talk about the steps of this one. So you break off of your left foot, obviously, to go to an out route. Do you need to kind of hesitate like this receiver did? No. You could do it off of a speed cut and just go. It could be either way. But when he breaks off of that left foot, it's your 3rd step that starts the break. So let's count. This is his first step, right? So he breaks. That's 1 right there. That is his first step. And then he steps with the 2nd step. 3rd step, you put the brakes on and we drop. That is essentially like my trigger step. That's when I'm trying to bring my chin to my knee. That's when I'm lowering my center of gravity as quickly as I can. So now that 3rd step I drop, the 4th step hooks back around, and our goal is to try to get my toes and my hips parallel to the line of scrimmage. I want to be facing the line of scrimmage. So then what we do is off of that 4th step, we throw a jab back to the inside to make this DB think we're running that return route. And then we accelerate back to the outside. So it's like a fake return route. I've heard some people call this a juke route before. Some people probably refer to this as a jerk route simply because it looks a lot like a jerk route where you sell the slant, fake back to the whip, and then cut inside. So it's the same deal. It's like it's a double move route, but building off of like selling a triple move, I guess you could say. So let's play this again full speed one more time. Great job by this receiver selling that route and getting that separation with the DB. Okay, so now this next route out here, you guys. I'm sure you guys have all heard of a curl before, but we're going to go over a hesitation skip with like a jab curl route. So this wide receiver is running a curl and this DB is sitting off at about 5 yards. Most important thing when I have to run any route and I have a DB who's sitting off, whether he's like 3 yards, whether he's 4 yards, whether he's 5 yards away, I have to close the distance for 4 to 5. Now, something that you could do to kind of mess with this DB, get his feet to stop, get a little bit of separation, is by using a hesitation skip and into a jab step. So this wide receiver comes off and he does a little hezzy skip, gets his DB to jump, and then ultimately runs his curl route. So you guys, again, can use this on any type of vertical breaking route. You got to do this and you go run a fade. You could do this, you go run a corner, whatever the case may be. So he comes off the ball, the steps on this. He takes his first step off the ball, and then any hesitation move that you guys want to do, hesitation skip, you're essentially taking 2 steps with the foot that you're trying to hesitate on. So he comes off the ball, he steps with his left foot first, and then he's going to step with his right foot, jab with the left again. So it's left, right, left. And that right step is almost like a hop in a sense. So he comes off the ball. So again, 1, right foot lands, and then that jab happens. Now, that jab is very quick after the right foot lands. Does it need to be like that? No. You could land first and then push into this jab step if you want. This receiver is incredibly twitchy, so I wouldn't necessarily say that that's something that everybody needs to have. But that little skip right there can throw off that DB, can get him to stop his feet, get him to try to overreact, and then when we throw a jab in that direction, we're out. So that hesitation skip mid-route, you guys, that hesitation hop mid-route is a great way to be able to get separation when I have a DB who's 3 to 5 yards off and I need to close that space.